college football stadiums ranked from worst to best. Where does yours land? For many, college football is a sacred experience. Sitting in the stands, cheering for your team, storming the field when you win the big rivalry game. These moments are special, and they all start in the stadium stands. Not every stadium is made with the fan experience in mind, though. From the lack of upgrades to Vanderbilt's stadium to Harvard's questionable home, many college football stadiums failed to convert on fourth down. These are the worst college football stadiums still being used today. Continue reading on through this list to learn more. Every couple of seasons, San Jose State University makes a huge splash during the college football season. The David Fales era led to a new resurgence for the team in the last decade, but didn't lead to an improved stadium experience. In 2019, about 9,000 seats were removed, which dropped the capacity to 21,520. The Mercury News. In 2023, a second phase of the East Side building and renovation project remained in the planning stage. Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium was built in 1965, and while it may have looked futuristic at the time, it now looks like a relic stuck in the past. Fans have been brutal reviewing the stadium on Google, with one writing, "This is a dangerous, understaffed facility, recklessly close to a very active major train line." Another fan wrote, "Fans were not allowed to go to their seats due to lightning and were forced to compact themselves in the concession areas. Emergency personnel were not able to freely move through the dense crowds of people." Vanderbilt University is one of the most expensive universities in the United States to attend with an average cost of $63,946. U.S. News World Report. The fact that more of that money hasn't gone to improving First Bank Stadium is questionable. Built in 1922, one Google Online reviewer wrote that it's a sad excuse for a stadium. Another reviewer complained that major high school programs have more impressive stadiums than one of the most prestigious universities in the world. Martin Stadium is the home field for the Washington State University Cougars. It almost holds 33,000 fans and it's the smallest stadium in the Pac-12 College Football Conference. Washington State Athletics. Even after modern upgrades, the stadium still feels left behind. More renovations are planned for Martin Stadium. Hopefully, those upgrades will fix this reviewer's biggest issue as described on TripAdvisor. The seating bowl is completely antiquated. Most of the seats are metal. Metal, in cold weather stadiums, sounds like a terrible idea. Located in Lawrence, Kansas and built in 1921, David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium is the house of the University of Kansas football team. As historic as the stadium might be, it could definitely use a major renovation. Plans were announced for a complete rebuild in 2023, KUathletics.com. When fans are complaining about how bad the bathrooms are, you know you have a problem. Very old stadium that badly needs an upgrade. The bathrooms were not even air-conditioned. Uncomfortable bench seating. Temple University's Lincoln Financial Field has a capacity of 67,594 and has been open since August of 2003. According to TripAdvisor, fans didn't mind the stadium, but were less than enthusiastic about the fans. Some fans have found the silver lining in the general emptiness, though. What's not to love? Watching Temple University football in an NFL stadium with a seating capacity of 70,000. Stretch out, occupy an entire section and grab some rays. The only reason the University of Arkansas Razorbacks still occasionally play home games at War Memorial Stadium is because of its historical significance to the school. Most home games are played at the much more fan-friendly Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, described by fans as a big high school stadium. War Memorial Stadium is best left in the past at this point. It has become the home stadium for the Catholic High School Rockets and the Parkview Magnet High School Patriots. According to the high school's official websites, the former home field of the San Diego Chargers, STCU Stadium was the home for San Diego State University. The massive stadium, which was originally opened in 1967, held 70,000 screaming fans. ESPN noted for its lack of modern features. One reviewer on Yelp wrote, "Worst venue I've ever been to. Dated, run down, Limited options at concessions. It's laughable. Radio Shack from 1982 provided the sound system, and Jumbotron. SDSU's new stadium is the Snapdragon Stadium, which opened in August of 2022. One stadium with complaints about the bathroom situation is Folsom Field, the home of the University of Colorado Buffaloes. Folsom Field was opened in 1924, and while it hasn't fallen apart as badly as other stadiums, it is still considered meh by most fans. It's not exactly an experience most would want to attend. However, in 2008, it became the first zero-waste stadium in the NCAA with a rigorous recycling and composting program. According to the university website, Memorial Stadium was given a big renovation in 2016, but still falls flat as a stadium. As nice as the stadium might be, the Hoosiers football program was abysmal for years, turning the in-stadium experience into a dud. However, in 2021 the average attendance rose to 89.1% capacity, with the highest being 84.6% in 2012, according to the university's official website. While their numbers may have dwindled a bit in the following years, they are still doing better than before the surge. A cavalcade of renovations to the home of Duke University football was just enough to lift Wallace Wade Stadium to being passable. According to the university's official website, upgrades included 5 stories of luxury suites as well as a brand new LED video board. Sometimes all the upgrades in the world aren't enough to hide what you really are. As one Google reviewer wrote, "It looks and feels like an oversized high school stadium. I mean, it seemed nice and all, but it didn't feel like college football." The Northwestern University Wildcats play at Ryan Field, a 47,130-seat stadium that hasn't seen a single renovation since 1996. Despite playing some high-profile NCAA opponents, the stadium, it's rarely featured on national television. One of the biggest flaws with Ryan Field, unsurprisingly, is the lack of modern amenities and concessions. In 2021, Northwestern was given their largest donation of $480 million with possible plans of renovation for the stadium. NSports.com. The Rose Bowl is one of the most iconic stadiums in all of college sports. Not only does UCLA play their games there, but the venue also hosts concerts and the Rose Bowl football game at the end of every season. TheScore.com. Built in 1921, the historic stadium desperately needs repairs and better parking for fans. If you plan to go to a game, you might as well plan to wake up before the crack of dawn to get in before kickoff. The University of Maryland has played in Sekou Stadium long enough that they need to decide whether it's worth renovating or tearing down altogether. For the last 2 decades, the stadium has needed major repairs that it is yet to receive. The situation is so bad that one Google reviewer wrote, "The field itself needed work as a number of players slipped and fell on the rubber crumb field turf. This stadium needs a full renovation or just better facility management." One NCAA football program that was in need of a stadium upgrade is Marshall. The team played at Jones C. Edwards Stadium, a 30,475-seat bare-bones stadium filled every Saturday with college football fans. Bleacher Report didn't hold back in their review of the venue. "You need to be a tough hombre wearing visiting gear coming into Edwards Stadium on fall Saturdays, as if you're not with the Thundering Herd. Chances are you are going to hear about it and then some." In 2023, the university began demolition of the south end zone seating to make room for a new video board and concourse area. The Herald-Dispatch. Built in 1969 using parts of older stadiums, there's not a lot good to say about the modern version of Dick's Stadium. Kent State isn't known for their football program. In 2023, the stadium expanded with chairback seating, suite upgrades, and more. XaBuildingCompanions.com. For history majors, the stadium might be exciting to visit. At least that's how one Google reviewer seems to feel. The stadium is a very serviceable 1970s-era stadium that undergoes constant revision. Opened in 1914, the architect who designed Yale Bowl for Yale University was a graduate of the school's class of 1871. The stadium was built without locker rooms for either team, and restrooms weren't installed until 1930. For fans, The stadium offers little more than historic significance. Food and concession options are limited, and bathroom facilities are questionable at best. As one optimistic Google reviewer wrote, "This place is a dump, but still worth a visit. A true college stadium that feels like a high school stadium is the home of the University of Dayton, Welcome Stadium." Built in 1949, it was originally built for Dayton's many high school football teams. The stadium, which only holds 11,000 fans, received a minor renovation in 2008, but still feels outdated to fans. If there is a plus, it's that Welcome Stadium is surrounded by parking lots, so getting to and from games is never an issue. Luckily, the stadium was renovated in 2023 with a press box, turf field, and more. We at 7, over 40 years old, Clarence T.C. Chain Athletics Complex in Honolulu was long overdue for an upgrade. Even with a multi-million-dollar renovation in 2016, fans complain they don't see much improvement in the stands. Not even a winning season could soothe their upset souls. University of Hawaii fans won't have to stay angry much longer. In 2023, the college announced a plan to expand to a 17,000-seat stadium, with new stands and practice fields. Con 2, Harvard Stadium opened in 1903 and has remained largely unchanged since. Considered a beauty back in the day, today the old stadium is falling apart while the university's football team struggles to win games. Reviewers on Yelp didn't hold back their contempt. "This stadium is falling around itself. I'm sure Harvard realizes that 40,000 squeeze in there for the Yale game. I'm surprised it didn't burst into tears and just give up and collapse." However, the stadium went through a $210 million renovation in 2022, according to the university's official website. Located a mile above sea level, University Stadium is the home to the University of New Mexico football program and was originally built in 1960. That decade was also one of the last the program was a winner. Bench-style seating and a lack of amenities are the major knocks against the stadium. If you do go, make sure you get a seat high up because the views of the surrounding area are incredible. According to KRQE, the city planned to put $10 million towards upgrades in 2023. UB Stadium was built in 1993 with a capacity of a little under 30,000. Generally, the University of Buffalo doesn't come close to filling that number as winning seasons have been few and far between. It doesn't help that the stands are separated from the field of play by a long track. According to the Buffalo News, construction on the Sports Performance Center for $7.5 million is set to be finished by the 2024-25 season. A stadium located in Las Vegas should probably try harder to provide fans a great experience, but that didn't happen with Sam Boyd Stadium. On TripAdvisor, one disgruntled reviewer complained, "The lines for food were 20-40 minutes, and for a cold $6 hot dog. I would never attend another event at this stadium unless I could arrive by helicopter and eat before I arrived." The stadium closed in 2020, so the university switched to the Allegiant Stadium, which opened the same year. Thankfully for University of Northern Illinois football fans, the team doesn't stink, because the stadium does. A winning team means the stadium experience won't be a total disaster, but it doesn't mean it will be a great one either. At the end of the day, Husky Stadium is just outdated, has that old stadium feel. Concessions don't take cards and the ATM was out of money. Overall a good time, said a reviewer on Google. The stadium hasn't been renovated since the 2000s. According to the university's official website, McGurk Alumni Stadium is small compared to other college football stadiums. Built in 1965, it can only hold 17,000 fans, which is still often more than enough seats for the University of Massachusetts game day turnout. Open to all weather conditions, this outdoor stadium could use some defenses for when the harsh winter on the East Coast starts. The stadium received a $5.58 million pledge for new renovations in 2018. According to the university's official website, opened in 2013, this 15,314 stadium is perfectly fine for high school football. For the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, it leaves more than little to be desired. Unlike other stadiums, This one has renovation plans that should turn around its public perception. The biggest improvement in the works for the stadium is a capacity expansion. Luxury boxes that could hold an extra 25,000 fans would increase overall capacity to 40,000 roaring fans. In 2023, the stadium received $50 million for a stadium expansion project. Charlotte.axios.com Opened in 1967 with a seating capacity of 22,500, Suman Stadium is the home of Ball State. 40 years after first opening, the stadium went through a thorough renovation, but the same can't be said for the school's football program. Suman Stadium stands as one that could be good if more fans showed up on game day. According to Ball State University Athletics, the stadium has not been renovated since 2007. The negativity around Infosysan Stadium by visitors is directed almost entirely at the University of Akron's lack of fans. The school went through a brutal 3-year stretch from 2010-12 where they only won 3 games. Their attendance has significantly dwindled over the last couple of decades. I would honestly love going there if they actually had a fan base. Almost every time I went there it was me and the marching band being the only people in the stands, said a Google reviewer. Asui Kibi Activity Center, the home of the University of Idaho football program, is not a pretty sight to behold. An opposing coach once called the stadium with a domed roof made of wood a Campbell's soup can cut in half. Fans aren't much nicer in their reviews. It's a giant indoor football field. Very interesting both because of size, and the fact that they felt that our local college team needed this so they could practice. In 2022, the stadium started to feature a new LED lighting package and other game day enhancements. University of Idaho Athletics